So I saw The Daily Show. I was able to get tickets, finally. I was really worried, but I got them like last second at like 6 in the morning, something absurd like that. Which was fantastic because it meant I didn't have to do the standby line. Because standby meets at like noon if you want any chance of getting a seat. For a taping that starts at 5:30. And it was cold today, and I just really didn't feel like spending all day standing in line. Getting the ticket meant I didn't have to show up until 3:30 for a 5:30 show. So I was still out in line for a really long time, and it was freezing. My toes went numb, and like my hands were so cold, I was like putting them inside my coat, trying desperately to warm them back up again. But it wasn't boring, at least, because I listened to the Wicked soundtrack, which was, of course, vastly entertaining. But the cold did sort of take its toll on me. By the time they started letting us in the door, I was just really annoyed and not in a very pleasant mood at all, and kind of regretting going. And then, like, we went through security, and that was a hassle, and I was just like, ugh, why? And then Jon Stewart came out, and just instantly everything was all was right with the world. And because he's just, I don't know, something about him. He's so funny in this very charming way. It lets me sort of acknowledge how messed up politics can be and just sort of laugh at it. And so there was, of course, election coverage, some funny stuff going on there. But then also, it was actually a really good day to end up going because they introduced a new correspondent. Oh man, I don't recall her name. I should though, because she used to be on Flight of the Conchords, which is this New Zealand comedy show thing that I'm familiar with because of the band Flight of the Conchords, which is like the star of the show. And they do just the most hilarious songs, and I love watching all their little music videos basically from the show. And so I recognized this girl from that, where she was quite funny. And she did just this amazing bit about when we're going to have a female president. Her guess was the year 2300, which is a rather long way away. It was a great bit, and it was really cool to be able to see her debut. Just because, you know, moment of Daily Show history. I actually saw her after the taping in her taxi waiting at a red light. And I went up and I grinned and I waved. But I didn't want to bother her because she was obviously like on her way someplace. So I didn't like go up and make her roll down her window and try to talk to her. But she smiled back and waved back, and it was just really cool to spot her a little closer up, although we were quite close at the taping to the stage. But it was cool to see her there. Even cooler to see her on the show recording her bit. But then after that, they also had a really good guest. Dana Perino, the White House press correspondent, came by, and although she was kind of vague and evasive sometimes, she had a really good sense of humor about the whole thing, and it was just really just cool to see her as herself, but then also to see her as someone actually involved with the White House and with this administration that John mocks mercilessly. And so it was great. The whole thing was just over way too quickly. I was just grinning and laughing the whole time. It was just a fantastic experience. And I was sort of bewildered, surprised, unsure of what I was doing when it ended and I had to like get up and walk out and leave. I was like, that's it? But I can't wait to see the show properly and try to find myself, see if I can hear my laugh. And at one point, actually, they turned the camera around on the audience, and so I can probably see myself waving frantically in my white shirt right on the edge. I was right on the aisle, so look for me. Just overall, brilliant. I'm so glad I went. Afterwards, though, short version is I failed miserably at trying to hail a taxi. Like, random New Yorkers saw me sort of bewildered, standing out going, "What? Please? Please stop for me?" And they started, like, giving me tips, like, try standing over by the corner so you get both streets worth of taxis, make sure you do firmly look for the little lights and whatnot, and I was just like, ah. Finally, I did manage to get a ride back to my hotel. And it was actually a really pleasant ride because it turned out that my taxi driver's native language was Arabic. He got all excited when he found out I was probably majoring in Arabic and started chatting away in the language, but I had to tell him, أنا درست اللغة العربية منذ سنة واحد فقط ولا أعرف اللغة جدا كثيرا, which is, I studied the language Arabic for 1 year only, and I don't know the language very well. But I do know the language well enough to compose that sentence, which is pretty cool. And I was even able to put the first clause in past tense, darastu, instead of adrus. Pretty sure I've got that right anyway. But like, we did have a good chat in English, but about Arabic, and then got to my hotel, got a light dinner, less than $20 for change. I've been spending so much money on food because I keep going to these nice restaurants and having these really excellent, like, 3-course meals. But now I've just sort of got the evening to myself, and it's only 9 p.m. So I'm gonna just sort of hang out in my room, I think, do a bit of reading, catch up on my Game Boy games, just sort of relax and get ready for tomorrow, when I'm hoping to have a bit of a big day out on the town. And hopefully I'll do things that I'll, like, be allowed to take pictures of, so that these videos can be more than just me sitting and talking to my computer screen. Although I'm sure you love that. Because anything with me in it is wonderful, right? So that was the cool stuff that happened today, and I'll see you tomorrow.